growing up in school, what were your best or worst memories?
You first.
I can do that. I hated school a lot,
Who
but
doesn't?
it wasn't that bad. Like, I felt like I knew more than my teachers. I know that sounds arrogant and everything, but I still feel like I knew more than my teachers. I would ask them questions and they didn't have an answer, but they couldn't just say like why they don't have the answer. They would just change the topic, and it just drove me crazy when I was growing up. So if I focus on the good things, I grew up in the States and it was near New York, and so I got like little flavors of everything, and people didn't talk about the cultures that much though, so it made me really curious, which is why now I'm just so into culture, because I had these friends from India and Russia and all these other countries, but nobody really shared that much, so it just got me really curious.
Is it normal in state which the teacher will not answer the question which they didn't know?
I mean, it depends on the teacher. I had a few really cool teachers though, but they have rules, you know, they have strict rules. My favorite teachers broke all the rules. Most of them got fired for it.
You went to a private school.
It's a public school.
You just mentioned some teachers broke the rule and then got the fire, right? I want to know what happened.
I mean, I guess because he shared stories and he was part of the church. And like mentioning the church is always kind of frowned upon in American education. We try to keep everything, religion and education, really separate. But he wasn't trying to convert me or anything. He was just trying to tell me his story. I didn't see any problem with that. But some parents got upset that like, oh, maybe he talked about economic issues that students were uncomfortable talking about, or his own personal religion or something like that. So those were like really sensitive topics. But he was doing it very respectfully. So I got really angry when he was fired. They didn't tell us he was fired, but he disappeared from the school.
It's how people are fired.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it, they just get fired.
But I think that's insane. It's weird. You know, I'm Hong Kong. But we will not separate the religion and the education. So for me, when I know your story, I don't understand why I have to separate.
That's public school though, for my case. If it's private, then religion's no problem.
Okay.
So the idea is that if it's sponsored by the government, then they're not supposed to talk about religion at all. But I had another favorite teacher who was not fired. I guess nobody complained about him because it might have just been we were too young to really understand what he was talking about. But he would talk about his own beliefs too, which were a little bit more new age.
Was the belief, was it kind of infringing on the students back then? Even at age 5, young children are much more aware than we adults think. It could be that the reason why the children never cared was probably because his beliefs were not forceful, or it was not infringing. Maybe because he never tried to force his beliefs.
I guess with the two different teachers, most of the students liked them and respected them. The one that got in trouble, he was teaching high school actually. And the high school kids already started to have strong opinions about stuff. But the other one was teaching junior high school. Both of them were really respectful, though. It's not like they were trying to preach their beliefs to us, which is why I think it was okay. They were just saying, like, this is my belief. I'm not pushing this on you. But, in America, it's very sensitive.
And I think when they touch the topic about New Age, that is a sensitive topic then. Because it's not the traditional.
Well, he got away with it though, because in the States we have very clear idea of religion. At least when I was growing up, it was like you're a Christian or you're Muslim or you're Jewish or you're Buddhist. The way he expressed it was a little bit outside of those terms. So he got away with a lot more, I think. Like he didn't focus on a church, or it wasn't like symbols that people recognize. Like if you talk about the cross or something, everybody recognizes that. But the things he was talking about were very foreign to us. So he mentioned the soul, but he mentioned it outside of the context of any religion. Nowadays, people might be more sensitive about it. He was talking about reincarnation, actually, I think. He thinks this is like a beautiful idea. I think it was okay because we were too young to, like, most of the kids weren't paying attention that much. And then the few kids who were paying attention were more interested in it.
Who will campaign the teacher?
In the States, like, people are really scared of someone coming to try and convert their children. So it's like, it's a reasonable thing to worry about. But if the teacher expresses that they're not trying to push you down a certain path, I think it's fine. But drawing that line is really hard, and they want to make everything standard. There's some kids that are really sensitive to it. It's like, he talked about this, and then they go tell their parents.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. I don't know where he went.
I think there has to be some sort of perceptive filters. Just like you can't begin to tell a young child about death, or you begin to tell them about government secrets, or begin to tell them about propaganda. There are things that are way too real for us to comprehend in life, even for adults. We just have to not talk about it because of our mental health. teachers I know are often drilled or taught not to do this just so they could follow the regular process of teaching and just impact rather than just trying to influence children in things like religion or political parties.
Do you think that teachers should stay away from any of those topics completely?
I don't think they should stay away. I think a balance should be created because knowledge isn't just about what you learn in the four wall of a school. It's about reality as well. It's about life in general. You need practical knowledge, realistic knowledge to relate your education with what you have actually learned.
But I think have some benefit when we can discuss some sensitive topics. It's like the critical thinking. And if we can't talk about it, it means we have no chance to discuss with our schoolmate or friend. When you haven't this muscle to think, you will lose it.
Well, thinking back, I had a bunch of really controversial teachers that nowadays would probably get in trouble. But I had one teacher that told us all the secrets the history books don't really talk about that much, but nowadays they're starting to talk about. So like, for example, Columbus did some terrible things. We just said, oh, Columbus Day, everyone's happy. This guy, he brought Europeans to America. And we never talked about the bad things he did to indigenous people. But my teacher was like, hey guys, yeah, he also did this really bad thing too.
People are much more aware now. There is this aspect of the present that we find ourselves now that is much more different from what we used to have. The more we are getting advanced as humans in lifestyle, culture, and education, you see that people are becoming much more aware. So things that would generally pass in the past might not pass nowadays.
And I think we don't have to think a teacher is a great idol or something. Actually, teacher is just a job.
Yeah, I agree.
I understand that too, because just teaching, you feel a lot of pressure to be perfect all the time. I don't follow that at all. I said, like, if I don't know something, I say, I don't know that. Oh, I spelled the word wrong. Sorry. I'm not perfect.
Yes.